Alright, welcome everybody to the ESL Pro League. This is the final match day and there's a lot going on at once here. Right now we're watching LDLC versus Heroic as both teams are vying it out for a higher place in the ranking. Alex right now taking a fight on the A-bomb site. He'll go down pretty quickly, but Devil finds 2 kills before he falls himself. That's going to shore up the team's defenses for sure. Snappy now wants to make sure his team doesn't get flanked as Heroic pretty much locks down the A-bomb site, but the last 2 counter-terrorists, they come in through heaven, and they actually manage to find a great deal of success, leaving just Snappy alive. But of course, he finds 1, then 2 headshots, sealing out the pistol round for his team. Very impressive clutch play by Snappy in the 1v2. Kept it calm, took 2 1 versus 1s, and won the round for Heroic. And it looks like already we're going to be heading into a pause, probably a technical issue here. I can't imagine any team that wants to take a tactical pause going into an eco or an anti-eco, especially 0-1. There's just no need for it. Both teams, I'm sure right now, still have perfectly level heads. Let's take a look at Heroic's buy. They have 1 rifle on Snappy, 1 SMG, and of course the other 3 players, they're still deciding what they want to go with here. I do like, though, already Snappy and Modi proving that they want to have a little bit of diversity in their weapons range. They have the rifle and the SMG, which means they can play both close angles and far angles to a great deal of success. Additionally, Modi, he can get right up in the enemy's face with that Mac 10, do a lot of damage, and then Snappy or another rifler can just finish them off with the AK from as far away as they please. That's definitely my favorite kind of composition for an anti-eco, for sure. It looks like LDLC want to follow this up with a force buy of their own, and so they're going with, you know, the standard pistol buys, the CZs, the Deagles. I'm surprised at the Deagle pick almost. Existence not typically the player you would think of for those flashy aim-based plays, but if he can make it work, more power to him. And now the pause is over and we're right back into it. Let's see how Heroic decide to handle their anti-eco. It's T-side nuke, which means it's kind of difficult to take those long-range engagements unless you go outside, which means that's what I'd be expecting from them right now, although of course they're not committed to anything. And it looks like they're going to go with a little bit of an execute towards the outside. A lot of nades going out, and Juji actually finding a kill on Alex through Squeaky nice and early in the round. Good stuff from him. But Tono, he's in a great spot. He manages to take down Nico with the Deagle headshot, and that actually weakens Heroic a lot early on in the round. They're down a man, but of course they still have the weapon and utility advantage by far. The second Deagle kill is meant to be Eastag. He falls down. Snappy manages to find a kill as well, but this Deagle is absolutely insane. It's got a 3K right now, and it's looking to clutch out the round, but it just can't do it. Heroic managing to pick up that anti-eco by the skin of their teeth. That was not the clean round that you would want in an anti-eco like that. Props to LDLC for doing so much economic damage. But of course, it's not enough to completely break the economy, as Heroic is able to still rebuy and keep 2 rifles, but the rest of their players are going to be weakened on the SMGs, and LDLC, of course, not really going to be buying anything. A P250 here and there for the especially rich players, but that is about it. Snappy throws the smoke out and goes fast down vents, and of course runs into Alex on the way down. I'm surprised they didn't kind of notice each other sooner, but either way, Snappy runs away with the kill and manages to not lose a single point of HP in the process, but of course he has to in this position. So the B-split starts in a great spot. He manages to find 1 kill, unfortunately. Now Nico, he's shoring up the flank, finds 1, 2, but not the third. Devil taking him out with the P250 headshot at close range, leaving him in a 1 versus 2. He only has the P250 still, though. He didn't recover the rifle. He's walking over towards vents, and it looks like he wants to head down, but he's a little indecisive here. He doesn't have a kit, so if he wants to try to win the round, he needs to move quickly. Else he can just go for exit frags, which honestly is not a bad idea right now, and it looks like that might be his plan. Snappy just hanging out in that vent area, and Eastag watching his back. This is a pretty airtight setup from them, and now Devil, he's recovered the AK, so definitely not going to be pushing into this bomb site now, just waiting and seeing if anybody runs up ramp, and it looks like Snappy is going to walk into his crosshair. Let's see if he can manage to get the frag. It's not going to be easy, and of course he does spot him out and do a little bit of damage. The kill is not sealed. Snappy flying around the corner manages to take him down and rob LDLC of that rifle. That one's got a sting, but of course they're still going to be able to buy up with plenty to spare, even an AWP if they so choose. No surprises there. LDLC are choosing to go with the AWP. Now, the AWP on CT side Nuke is a very, very powerful weapon. You can use it to lock down ramp, and you can use it to shore up your defense on outside. Definitely not something you'd go without if you have the economy to make it work. Right now, we're hearing the windows break on the A bomb site. That could be a hint of an A execution. But of course, LDLC, not the team to kind of be played with here. They know to wait until they at least see some utility before they commit to a rotation. And finally, the nades are lining up. Juji, he's got the smoke out, along with a couple of his teammates throwing frags in as well, and we hear the smokes popping off. Maybe he's decided to just throw a flash off the B, ward off any residual push, but it's definitely not meant to be at this point. The A setup is strong. It looks like they might want to take vents though, but it's not meant to be. Nico, who falls down nice and early, to Alex, who's worked himself so far up in the vents that they run into each other, and that's going to be a devastating blow to Heroic really early on in this round, relatively speaking. And now Maniac will find one on the Modi as well. Things are not looking good for Heroic. They can't really find any map control or any frags here, as LDLC are almost an unbreakable wall, and Eastag falling down just to prove my point. Now Snappy trying to make an opening here. He manages to find the first frag, but unfortunately not the second, as he walks out in front of Devil with his back turned. And that does leave Juji in the 1 versus 4. But he doesn't have the bomb, and the counter is due. This is not going to be easy. He manages to find the first frag, but in the process, he's knocked down to almost half health. And of course, with only 5 seconds left, he really has no chance here at planting the bomb. So it's just about staying alive and saving that rifle. Let's see if he can do it. And LDLC with the AWP recovered, forcing Heroic kind of on the economic ropes here. They've got one good buy left in them, but after that, they're going to be broken. Let's see if they can manage to keep their economy intact, and let's see what strategy they decide to go with here to try to back that up. And Maniac definitely been informed by his in-game leader existence that the enemy team is on a bit of an eco, and so a rush is likely. So he decides to spend a lot of utility in B early on in the round just to make sure that no rush comes in and overwhelms him. Good decision, even though it might not necessarily have been correct, but in this case we can see it clearly was. All of Heroic's players just lined up directly outside of that smoke, just waiting for their opening, but the two counter-terrorist ramp players are just kind of strategically exchanging smokes and Molotovs, almost like you would on Inferno's B site, just warding off that rush for as long as they can. I'm noticing Heroic, they definitely like to play the vents a lot, and LDLC has definitely picked up on that as well, but Maniac right now, he manages to find 2 frags before they can get the site. Now Existence is here to back it up. He takes Maniac's old spot and finds the 3rd frag for himself, leaving Snappy and Modi alone versus 4 counter-terrorists who are firing on all cylinders right now. Snappy, he manages to find the headshot on the Devil, but Existence follows it up very, very quickly and wants to make sure that Heroic gain no ground here. And Modi is left alone in the 1 versus 3. He comes around, he clears his corner, is trying to head into that A-bomb site. He does have the bomb, but of course he has no idea of Alex's position, which is going to make things pretty difficult for him. He manages to walk his way into the bomb site, but of course planting that bomb and throwing the smoke are going to make a lot of noise. And the bomb's down, but Alex has jumped into the site and he gets the frag almost for free. And the defusal is going to come in. LDLC taking their 2nd round, and Heroic, their economy is not looking too good. Right now, before the round even starts, everyone is below $1,000, and there's not going to be a lot of loss bonus to back them up and shore them up right now.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
And with that quick defuse, Heroic are left on the ropes, and it looks like they're going to go with not quite a force buy, but the kind of buy down to 2k, make sure we're still available for next round, but try to give ourselves a bit of a fighting chance. I'm not too huge of a fan of that. It kind of compromises some utility, but on the other hand, let's see how they play this force buy. Maybe it's just what the doctor ordered in terms of shaking up their playstyle. They have been trying to play in a little bit of a slower, more methodical way these first couple of rounds. Let's see if putting those kind of inferior weapons in their hands and making them get up close and personal. Let's see if that's an advantage for them. And streaming into the A bomb site, Devil manages to take down 2, now 3. He's looking for the 4th, but he's very low on bullets in the AK. Nico managing to take him down, but of course Alex coming from behind, and Mini manages to find a frag of his own. And Existence there to mop it up. Great round from Existence, pulling off the 4K without breaking a sweat. Just solid stuff. That A bomb site hold was almost textbook the way you'd want to hold it. 2 different angles, a crossfire setup. Nobody was really managing to make it out of hut without at least 50 points of damage. And that just left Existence and Devil in a position where they could just mop up kills and kind of work off of each other's damage. Very, very good stuff from them. LDLC sending their offer to try to work a close pick, and he manages to find it. Nico falling down early in the round, and that's gotta be frustrating. Definitely not expecting him to come around the corner, and that's going to weaken the B-side split significantly. Existence manages to find one, but Modi, he's used to that position, and he manages to trade him immediately afterwards, and then he immediately finds the heaven. A little bit unorthodox, a little bit different, but Devil's ready for it. He finds Modi before Snappy can trade him out, and this leaves a 3-on-2. Heroic kind of reeling here. They're a little bit short on manpower. Let's see if they can make up for it with firepower. Bomb going down. Juji manages to grab that, but Alex, of course, in a great position. He manages to sneak in and take him down, and now Snappy's trying to make something happen, but Alex is already deeply embedded into the bomb site like a thorn in his side, and he manages to find the frag, and then immediately jumps on the bomb. Ever since they managed to put weapons in their hands, LDLC have really been on a tear here, not losing a single round after they kind of got over that economic slump losing the pistol put them in. And it looks like the pause is coming in, no doubt coming from Heroic, who recently picked up Peacemaker, Liquid and Tyloo's old coach. Now, Peacemaker, you gotta remember here, he was, in my opinion, instrumental to the most successful Liquid lineup. Their success was in large part due to him, and of course, Simple's impact could not be overstated as well. But it'll be interesting to see what Peacemaker tries to bring to this team in terms of structure and discipline, and he is in the server with them right now, and I'm sure he's definitely the one who's talking the most in the TeamSpeak server right now. Whatever system he wants to institute in Heroic, it's definitely not going to be something they're used to yet. He's been on the team for less than a week. So it'll be difficult to kind of institute those changes last minute. Let's see if he can pull it off in this pause and allow Heroic to take more rounds, to get a gun round on the board, and force LDLC onto the back foot for once. And so in they go. Heroic finally back up onto a gun round, but no AWP, and they had to sacrifice an AK for a Galil here in order to make it work economic-wise. Let's see if that decision pays off. Now, Maniac, he's going to dump out the early smoke yet again. That's going to stave off the Heroic players that are over the work ramp. He dumps a nade down there as well, but not going to be finding that much damage with that. Heroic is a little bit smarter than that. They're playing a little bit further back, trying to make sure they don't get picked. But of course, an aggressive AWP pick takes Judy completely off guard. Now he's removed from this round, and Nico, he's taking some damage to the smoke as well. He keeps pushing that same angle, and it's almost never working for him. He eats a lot of damage trying to go through that door. And now it's Maniac. He's got the incendiary out, and he's just trying to make sure that nobody pushes in that chokehold in a ramp, but it looks like Heroic have set their sights somewhere else. A lot of nades being dumped over, just allowing Heroic to kind of get a little bit more map control. It definitely looks like they're setting up for an A-bomb site take, but they're not committed yet. That being said, the time is ticking down. It's kind of a make it or break it moment. And with 2 of their players falling down, and make that almost a third, Nico managing to find the headshot on an LDLC. Things a little bit more even now, but still not quite comfortable for Heroic, especially with Nico as lit as he is, and with the wheel in Stag's hands. But Modi, he comes around the corner and he makes a huge opening over at the ramp. And LDLC finally at a disadvantage now, but Existence coming around and managing to find the pixel-perfect headshot on a Nico, who was completely unready for it. Now the bomb is going down. Existence kicks open the doors, tries to find who's planting, but of course, smarter than that, the bomb's gone down on the other side of the doors. Devil is flanking from behind. This is that lurk play he's so well known for. He manages to take out Modi, and that leaves Estag in a 1 versus 2. He does have the bomb down, however, but he is You gotta remember ultimate Leo. Let's see what he can do. Existence so late, he manages to take him down without a problem, but now it's Devil with full HP, and Devil is a clutch player. That was his role way back when, before he joined Envious, and of course Eastag, he just peeks in just the wrong way, and that allows Devil the easy, almost cavalier kill. And then he hops on the bomb, defusing it. And that was the closest LDLC have come to losing in a long time, but they still managed to pull it out in the end. In no small part due to Devil and Existence's amazing clutch play towards the end of that round. And LDLC have got to be feeling good there, but Heroic got to be mulling over in their heads, you know, what can we do differently? What are we not thinking of here? Because LDLC so far have just been an wall when they have guns in their hands. Heroic still falling back again into this very slow, disciplined, kind of reminiscent of like Navi back in almost like MLG Columbus era, when they would just play excruciatingly slow and just try to slowly seed into different parts of the map and get information before they really commit to anything. And Heroic, they're doing the same thing, except they're just not quite getting the same amount of information. They're just as slow, and they're paying for it. They're paying for it round after round. However, this time, Nico manages to catch Existence kind of out of sorts. And that's going to be a nice early advantage for them. Maniac, he comes outside, he manages to find one frag, but unfortunately can't get the follow-up. He's taken down, and Juji will fall as well. 2 versus 3, Heroic on the ropes, but certainly not out here. Snappy working his way towards A, trying to get information, trying to get the kill, but of course sprays at the wall and not able to hit anything. He falls off. And it looks like Heroic, they want to take it towards the B bomb site. Nico manages to secure it, and then Snappy brings over the bomb, and he finally starts that planning process. Of course, that's going to tip it off to LDLC. They send 2 players through the vent, but Nico finds both, and Snappy takes out Devil as well. Finally, Heroic back in the game. But of course, LDLC, with so many rounds won in a row, they still have an economy that will allow them to buy if they so choose. So Heroic, their work is not over yet. They need to win at least one more round in a row before they can really pat themselves on the back. LDLC, though, their buy is pretty weak here. It's going to force them to play a style they're pretty uncomfortable with. It's going to force them to get a lot closer than they typically do. And hopefully Heroic can take advantage of that. Unfortunately for Heroic, LDLC take even bigger advantage of that. They send Existence down, and he gets the early aggressive kick. Maniac tries to do the same, but he's taken down. But Heroic is just getting picked off one by one. Eastag does manage to find a kill and kind of equalize it, and he grabs the AK as well. And if you look at the health points on LDLC, this is almost an even 2-on-2. Eastag waiting for his teammate to come to him with the bomb, and then they can start to execute onto a site. It seems to always come down to these really late game, late in the round that is, 1 versus 1s, 2 versus 1s, 3v2s, that type of thing. It's always clutch rounds. It's almost never quickly said and done with these two teams. And now Heroic, they're trying to take the A bomb site, but Alex, he's not going to let it go without a fight. He manages to find the first frag, and then Existence with the mop-up even after his teammate dies in the fire. Good play from him. And yet another pause coming in. Heroic, no doubt disappointed by the fact that their economy was just broken. Their money's very weak now. No doubt they're heading into a save. But of course, you have to remember on Nuke, this is a round that's considered to be fairly CT-sided. Of course, not as much as in the older incarnation of the map, but still definitely so. And the fact that Heroic is putting up 4 rounds to LDLC 6, although it seems bad, it's not. It's really not, especially if they have a good CT side up their sleeve ready to go. And LDLC with the 5 rifles, foregoing the AWP for now, but it really shouldn't be a problem as long as they remember to not get in Heroic's face, to give them space, because of course when you're 5-10 feet in front of somebody, that's the kill zone for CZ75s. It's that deagle on Juji though that you gotta watch out for as far as range goes. He might be able to get a couple picks there, and Juji of course the highest rated player on either of these teams in the past 3 months right now. He's definitely the player to watch, and no doubt that's why he bought that deagle. He has the confidence in his aim. He wants to try to get a long range pick and open things up for his team. Let's see if he can do it successfully. So far the only thing he's managed to do is shoot Nico in the back of the head. Heroic, they put up the wall of smokes, and it looks like they're just going for a fast plant strategy. They drop down secret and outside, but of course the counter-terrorist is smarter than that. They drop a smoke trying to keep him out, but it won't work for long. Juji managed to find the fleeing Alex in the back of the head, and Maniac a little bit too eager to get the pick. He's taken down as well. Now Devil, who knows where the terrorists are going to come from. He finds one. Can he make it 2? He can. Both falling to his AK, and he turns around and gets the 3rd somehow. Very impressive 3K from Devil, but now he's out of the round. This is left in a 1 versus 2 as the CZ takes down his teammate. He manages to take down Nico, though. That's going to leave Monty in existence wearing off. The old school famed IGL falling to the new talent. Modi just kind of rushing in, catching existence a little off guard. He expects the other player to slow it down in the 1 versus 1 to give him a little bit more time, and it's not meant to be. He comes around that corner as quick as he can and just takes him down with a headshot. And Heroic pulling up to their 5th round, and now they're really trading blows with LDLC, not really letting either team pull a streak off here. And LDLC forced on the economic back foot, not really able to buy up. Devil does have the M4 in his hands, but that's about it as far as firepower goes. Alex pushes up and he manages to find the 5-7 frag nice and early on with the round, but unfortunately for him cannot recover the gun. Existence trying to get a little bit of damage down through those smokes, but just as unlucky as his teammate. No damage really done, especially with the P250 at that range. He wasn't really going to be hoping for much anyway. Now Devil, he's in the B-bomb site, and that looks like where he needs to be because the push is coming there. Nico manages to take down Alex, but he's traded out. And now E-Stag, he's kind of got an idea where the players are coming from, but not too solid on it. He manages to find 2 as he finally sees them streaming in from ramp, and Existence in the 1 versus 3 eats so much nade damage. Now he just wants a gun, an exit frag, or something, but he's being forced back so quickly here. Unfortunately for him, there's not much more he can do right now. And the bomb ticking down, Existence, of course, knows that he has better things to do than throw his life away, and so he's creeping back towards Mini, probably trying to find a drop gun from earlier in the round. Best possible scenario, he gets an exit frag. Now he hears terrorist players near him, but none wandering into his crosshair just yet. He's going to try to edge himself around that corner, but in the end, nothing is found. So he is left with the body armor and 1 smoke grenade, but it's not really enough to make a difference heading into this round tied 6-6, and LDLC probably just going to have to let this one go as they think about ways they can switch up their CT side and just do a little bit better. And a smoke from LDLC kind of warding off the outside push. They saw how effective it was last round, and they don't want to risk the repeat. And LDLC, they're just inching themselves close. With the pistols, they're putting themselves in these weird one-and-done spots where hopefully they can just find a kill, maybe 2 if they're lucky, to unsuspecting players. Modi manages to open up the round, but taken down by the USP headshot. Snappy then finds another kill on Alex. LDLC kind of being picked apart, but Maniac, he finds 2. Can he make it 3 kills with the USB? He can, somehow, against fully armored opponents. Now he picks up the UMP. E-Stag left by himself 1 versus 2 against fairly well-armored opponents. He needs to recover the bomb as well. Everything kind of stacked against him here as he inches his way into that A-bomb site. LDLC, they're looking out for him. They finally spotted him out, and both players peeking at the same time. E-Stag does manage to find Devil, but he's not long for this world. Maniac taking him down with the UMP-45 and then grabbing the AK for his team. all 5 players heading in the lobby right now, and it looks like they want to kind of do a quick A play, but it's not working out for them. They're getting torn to shreds. Alex and Devil both going off here with the rifle play, but Snappy comes into the bomb site, and this man's like the entry fragger that was always supposed to be. He manages to find the first 2 frags, but he's left by himself and with only 37 health, and nades going off all around him. Essentially, if he steps in the wrong spot, he's dead immediately. And he knows where the bomb is, but of course it's not in his inventory. And he knows that there's almost certainly counter-terrorists waiting right around that corner. He smokes the bomb and he grabs it, but gotta be so careful about that spam. He loses a couple precious health points to it before he drops down to the vent. He's almost certainly heard dropping. And Alex, he knows exactly what Snappy was going to do. Heroic, they love playing that vent, and so Alex just sits there and waits, and as soon as he drops down, takes him out. And now forced to eco again. Snappy again picking up the deagle and trying to do long range frags, but it's just not meant to be. Existence and Toino just mopping up. Playing it exactly the way anti-ecos are supposed to be played. Staying far away, using their rifles to their advantage, and making sure that no pistol players can kind of get right up in their face and negate the range advantage that they have. LDLC's Opera, of course, going off here. Existence, he finds the last terrorist player, and Monty with the CZ, he's just alone, he's being hunted. Alex going to be the one who gets the frag first, and that's going to seal out the half. 9-6 in favor of LDLC, and this is absolutely crazy. Heroic definitely the favorites heading into this game, and they end the first half at a disadvantage. Now, of course, this is a CT-sided map. Heroic should, in theory, have an easier time in the second half than they did the first by a wide margin, but that cannot be guaranteed. And as we wait for players to ready up, we're going to send it away. Just do a quick waiting screen. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the City of Odense, GeForce GTX, Lenovo Legion, Betway, Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain Dew League, Xfinity, and ESEA.
Game, record, and stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
Today, we will crown a champion. It's a championship inside smoke. That's a quad kill, and that's going to be it. What a performance. Oh, my goodness. They want the trophy, and they've got it. This is what grand finals are about. This is why we love Counter-Strike.
Be focused. Be uncompromising. Be the best and never hold out. Pick your event. Place your bet. No matter who you are or what you're here for, it's our passion that unites us. Betway, for the love of the game.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the city of Odin.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we head into the second pistol round of the first map of LDLC versus Heroic. LDLC, of course, with a considerable lead right now, but Heroic down but not out. One pistol round win would essentially equalize them as far as rounds go with LDLC. He knows this and he wants to make it work, so he finds the call ahead onto Existence, and Alex coming out onto the A-bomb site and finding one of his own as well. Things popping off relatively quickly here before Snappy on almost a retake comes in and he finds one of his own. Alex now left in a 1 versus 3, finds the first Glock headshot kill, but the last two counter-terrorist players, they're not about to let themselves get played like that. They both peek together and, of course, take down Alex without too much trouble. And Heroic, with their pistol round, as long as they play the anti-ecos correctly, they should tie up with LDLC in this second half. And as we mentioned before, time after time in the first half, this is a CT-sided map. Heroic should have a considerable advantage here, as long as they play their cards right. Looks like Heroic have kind of an idea of what LDLC wants to do here, at least they think they do, as they're kind of rotating, they're getting a little bit antsy here, but LDLC, they're playing it nice and slow. The disciplined style of Existence really shining through right now, as they're not rushing into anything, even on an eco round like this. They know they have utility, and so they know they can make a strat work. Let's see how they choose to pull it off. The flashes and smoke's going to be coming in as this execute begins. LDLC, they've worked themselves up right up next to Squeaky, and it looks like they're ready with the nades to kind of stream through that door. Juji, he's worked up mad close, but he gets flashed and he has to fall back, and that's going to be his life. Existence getting him the back. But Nico in an excellent position. He manages to find one, but then Maniac takes him down and grabs the weapon as well. This is a good start for LDLC, especially for an anti-eco. Snappy comes in, he wants to take along with his teammate, leaving Tono in a 1 versus 2, and it's just not enough. He's so late, he can't make anything happen. Heroic running away with the round, but not before LDLC get the plant down, so it could be a lot worse for them. The defuse finally coming in. LDLC, I'm sure, patting themselves on the back for what little ground they did manage to gain in form of the bomb plant, bolstering their own economy in just a small little way. And now LDLC back on the buy, although not too much utility, and it's taken them kind of a while to get out of spawn here. Definitely a little odd, but Existence not too much of a fan of the rush strats anyway, so playing it nice and slow, it shouldn't really matter if they get there a couple seconds later, luckily for them. Maniac managing to find the first kill on the Juji and opening up the round here as his team moves through outside, takes Garage, and is now wrapping around. They actually have kind of constricted the CTs onto the two bomb sites. Madi taking a lot of damage, and he falls off. Instead of dying, he decides to fall back and cede the kill. And now LDLC, they've slowed it down. They don't want to get caught out by not paying attention, and so they're just waiting for the counter-terrorists to get a little bit too antsy to do something dumb, and if that won't come, then they'll do kind of one of their famed methodical executes. But E-Stag, he's just waiting, and he actually manages to find Maniac as he walks into his crosshairs before Alex can trade him out. And that does give the man advantage to LDLC, although ever so slightly. Let's see how they can use it. They also have a little bit more utility, and Existence manages to find one, make it 2 kills on outside stairs. Good stuff. Existence definitely firing off in a way that we're not used to from him. We kind of associate him with that low fragging mastermind IGL, and that's not at all what he's doing this game. He's stepped up in a big, big way. I'm quite proud of him for it. He's making this map for his team. I'm not going to say that he is the only thing that's making his team, that's keeping his team in the round advantage, but certainly without him playing like this, his team would not be able to find this same level of success. And the pause coming back in. Heroic just trying to reel here. They are a little bit weak economy-wise, but I'm sure Peacemaker is coming up with a couple of unique setups for them on the CT side. You know, play the off angles, play the one-and-done spots like we saw LDLC do on their ecos last round. And with the pause ending, LDLC, they're choosing to buy up, but they know they're going up against an anti-eco, so they're not too concerned with an AK in every hand. A couple of UMPs going to be rounding out their team's arsenal. And Heroic, they're doing another buy down to 2K, and that really just means a Deagle and a CZ and nothing else. LDLC, they quickly take outside control, as they've done quite a few times this half. It seems to be working pretty well for them. And now what I don't like here is it seems like a couple of Heroic players are holding the same angles they would hold with rifles. For example, Modi, he was on ramp looking towards lobby with a USP out. You're going to lose the fight to the AK every time if you're holding that angle with the USP. It's just not a strong enough weapon. But Devil, he comes around the corner and he runs right into E-Stag. Face to face, somehow Devil manages to win out there. Luckily for him, he had the higher damage weapon, but Juji finds the nice headshot onto Alex to avenge his fallen friend before Existence trades him out. Heroic, unfortunately for them, they're losing trade after trade after trade, and they're always at the man disadvantage, and so to win rounds, they have to have their clutch players go off, and they're able to do it a lot, but they're not able to do it the majority of the time, because almost no one is. And that's going to be responsible for a lot of the round deficit they're seeing right now, and that's a perfect example of it. Snappy does run out, he does get one frag, but he can't save his life, and his team is in a man disadvantage, so that wasn't really helpful, except for the little bit of information they gleaned from it. And Nico, he does manage to find a kill onto Existence, who's trying to hunt around, make sure no counter-terrorists get away with their guns, but it's not enough. The round's still going to be safely in LDLC's hands right now as they secure the bomb site without too much trouble, and now they're leaving, and luckily for them, the opposite direction of the counter-terrorists. And the final piece of action, Maniac spraying down Modi, robbing Heroic of just one more firearm, and then dumping the nade because he has an idea that a counter-terrorist player is down there somewhere, but it doesn't really do enough damage. Nico, luckily for him, maintaining the rifle, and now we're about to pop into yet another full gun round. Definitely the best ones to watch. And Heroic on the CT side, they actually take some pretty aggressive positioning here. Let's see how it works out for them. Especially E-Stag. He's actually right up very, very close outside. A couple of terrorists, I'm pretty sure, have walked past him and he hasn't noticed it, oddly enough. And he's just watching for people to wrap around on his side, and it looks like both players are just going to kind of pass themselves in the night. E-Stag, he's actually let like 3 or 4 terrorists just pass him by and walk down into the B-bombs. Now he's looking around. What's happened as all the action is going off completely somewhere else. Devil, though, on the lurk, manages to take him down. Again, it's that famed lurk play. Everybody flamed him for not doing as well when he first joined Envious, but it was because he wasn't playing that role that he was so used to, that was occupied, of course, on the game by Happy. And LDLC with, I won't even call it flawless play, just getting lucky, not running any E-Stag at all. They managed to take the B-bomb site almost completely uncontested and get the bomb down. Modi, though, he actually is doing quite a bit of damage here. He could try to clutch out the 1 versus 4, but I think he knows that that's very unlikely, and so he's just falling off. An easy round for LDLC, but of course they don't go without economic damage, and that's going to be done by Modi finding 2 kills and taking 2 rifles away from them. They will be able to rebuy, but of course a little bit weaker than maybe would be ideal. Alex, you're seeing on the UMP. Commendable effort for Modi, just trying to weaken them just a little bit more, and of course carrying the M4 into his own team's force by eco situation. Snappy, he tries to push himself up, but of course Alex, he managed to take him down before he can do any real damage. Maniac down to about half health, but that is it. And LDLC already so early on in the round, finding full control of the A bomb site, dumping enough smokes to really keep the terrorists, or the counter-terrorists away, and then the bomb going down. And this is one of the annoying parts about the retake on Nuke's A site. If there's still a lot of counter-terrorists alive, there's just so many different angles, and you have to watch different elevations that it can really be rough if you don't have control of some area outside of the bomb site. But LDLC making it work as Alex and Maniac both find kills, and Juji Modi left in a 2 versus 5. They definitely are going to be saving Modi's firearm, and Juji probably going to go for some exits as well.
Terrorists win.
And the pause coming out. Heroic trying to figure out what they can do here. They're on their first gun round in a little bit of a long time. And so the question is, how can we do something a little bit differently here to keep LDLC from getting so close? Because they really are right about to run away with this first map here. How can we stop them from just pushing it over the edge? How can we stop that final straw from breaking the camel's back? And with the full guns on both sides, it really highlights the UMP in Maniac's hands. I wonder how he's going to use that in a way that doesn't make him lose ground compared to the full rifle stack that Heroic has. He's definitely going to be have to be very careful about the angles he takes and the engagements that he takes. He's going to probably be the rush scout player, kind of move into a bomb site very, very quickly, jump around, try not to get hit, and either get information or allow someone to come in behind him and mop up and get frags. Just while he's the big target that's difficult to hit, yet not doing any damage. LDLC doing a perfect 2-pronged attack onto the A bomb site that the counter-terrorists just aren't ready for. They put all their attention on the hut, and then the push comes from outside and just decimates them. Snappy and Nico both falling over in the process. Juji trying his best with the AWP now, manages to take down Existence, but of course, this happens time and time again. LDLC, they have these flawless bomb site takes, and so Heroic, they manage to get away and they manage to save a couple guns, but they're not winning rounds, and that's really going to be what kills them as LDLC comes into their 14th round. A lot of nades being used to take and hold outside, but it looks like in that exchange LDLC going to be winning out. They used pretty much just one smoke, and by doing so they bait out a big reaction from Heroic. They start spamming it and they start throwing nades of their own through. Definitely kind of trading. It was a good trade. They traded one smoke and they got a lot of utility back. They got a lot of attention back as 2 or 3 different players turned and started spamming it. snappy dropping down and manages to hold off that terrorist push on the A-bomb site. But of course, Alex, it wasn't a fully committed probe. It wasn't a fully committed push, rather. It was a probe. Alex was trying to see what kind of resistance he would run into on the A-bomb site. Of course, it proved to be too strong. Then the attack changed, and LDLC started going towards the B-bomb site, where they're finding much more success. Resistance trying to make sure that Juji can't get away with any more frags, and he does pull that goal off flawlessly. But LDLC are actually at their first time with a man disadvantage in quite some time, and Eastag actually managing to find Devil as well, who is one of the clutch players, and that leaves Existence. Now, the man is a genius. If you ask anyone who, like, the top 5 IGLs of all time in Counter-Strike Go are, Existence's name is surely going to be on it. So let's see what he can do in this 1 versus 3. Let's see if that intelligence shines through in his play. He manages to take and then starts running because he knows the stealth gambit is over if there's anyone nearby. Unfortunately for him, though, he just doesn't have a lot of time, and he knows it, and so he's going to be saving that AK instead of risking it all for no reason, especially when he's at 14 rounds compared to Heroic's 8. There's no problem with letting them take 1 in exchange for the money. And LDLC, of course, not having a money problem at all, managed to rebuy right into this despite the loss last round. And they're going to be investing a lot of utility towards outside, like we're used to seeing from them, and the smoke going to come out is going to allow Existence to just work his way up, and that's like a real wall there, and he spams through it just trying to get a little points of lucky damage. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen, but he does manage to go through outside, and now he's hiding, worked up in a secret. And regardless of where LDLC decide to commit their push to now, if they go B, Existence can of course swing around through secret or through doors there, and if they go A, he can go right up through the vents. Juji and Eastag, though, they both find a player apiece, and that's going to weaken LDLC's push considerably. It looks like Heroic is really finding their footing as this game is coming towards the end. Juji, especially with that op. After he finds the 3rd player, that's really when things start to get shaky. When you're up against a full 5 stack with less than 3 people, that's when things start to get a little hairy. That's when you start considering having a full team save. And now Maniac, he's left by himself. He does have the bomb, but this is a 1v5, and he's laughably underprepared. He's working his way towards the B bomb site, but of course everything is covered essentially from 6 different angles. It's going to be very difficult for him to get much purchase here, but it looks like he's trying it anyway. Of course, the money on LDLC is so great, they're probably not worried about his 1 AK, so let's see how he chooses to play this situation. He's going around, he clears, he manages to find the first frag of the round from his team on the Modi, and he fakes the plant, and then he charges through the doors, trying to catch a rotating counter-terrorist off guard, but it's not meant to be just yet. Only 10 seconds left, though. Maniac, he really has to move, and unfortunately not clearing the right angles. Nico takes him down. And Heroic, finding a couple rounds in a row here, they're really starting to get something going. And this, LDLC using their first pause in the match, just trying to regroup here. They realize Heroic has started to figure out something that works, and they need to make sure that strategy can't carry them up to the tie, because LDLC, you're so close to the end here, you want to just push it over. You don't want to allow Heroic to gain too much more ground, because their lead is not that absolute. Let's see what LDLC were able to come up with during that pause. They, of course, dumped the smokes and nades that we're used to outside, allowing their team to kind of work up and take that area. And it looks like they're dedicating a little bit more manpower than we might be used to there. In particular, they've got 3 terrorists working outside in one fashion or the other. Now, Juji is posted up. He's watching that angle with the off. He's getting as much of it as he can, of course, with the smokes blocking a considerable portion of his view. And Maniac, he's going to be just making sure the counter-terrorists don't push through B. And let's see how far Heroic get here. They're not pushing almost at all. They got pretty far worked up, pretty far pushed up at the beginning of the round, but now they're holding tight. They're not trying to take advantage of it. They're not trying to flank. They're just waiting for people to walk into their crosshairs. Juji going to be the first one to do so, finding the kill on Alex. LDLC working with a man down, and Modi finding one on a Maniac as well. This is where things start to look pretty bad for LDLC. What do they do? Now they're down the bomb as well. Existence trying to equalize it, trying to give his team a fighting chance. He'll find the kill on the Juji, and of course Juji on the op. He's been a huge presence. Using him for heroic is going to make things considerably more difficult. Now Snappy, he sees the terrorist player drop down the ladder, tries to grab him, but just a couple seconds too late, losing out on his game of whack-a-mole by just a little bit. It's Snappy though. He's going to finally seal out the kill. Devil comes up the ladder and loses his head for it. Existence somehow manages to trade it despite being disadvantaged in every way. And now it looks like LDLC, they're working towards the day bomb site, but Eastag, he comes in through the vent, he leaves Existence by himself. And this is a situation that we've seen before, but Existence knows how the story ends, especially with the time team. He grabs it up and falls back to CT smoke.
Counter-terrorists win.
Alright. And Heroic, they've managed to really string their streak together here, and LDLC, unfortunately, they're forced onto a force buy, with of course just the saved AWP coming into play. That AWP is going to be the linchpin of whatever strategy they go with this round, because they don't have any other firepower. And so Toino, he's working the edges of these smokes as best he can, trying to find the pick, but Juji, he actually finds one on a Devil. He gives away his position in the process though, so Toino waits for the flash, and then he comes around, he's checking the corner, he's trying to find that AWPer, because taking him down would be a huge advantage, but unfortunately for him, Juji has changed positions and he's not giving his life up that easily. And things have gotten very, very slow here as Toino leading the charge, as of course he would be with the AWP out, but unfortunately he's tagged down. He almost gets the frag, but misses it by a pixel until Nico peeks out the other side of the marshal. Unfortunately for him, that was not a good call. He loses his head, and now Toino with the AWP, he's really doing a lot of damage for his team, is the only thing keeping LDLC in the round. But of course the frag going to come out, it's going to force him out of position, and he's got to be worried about getting flanked. He sees the CT, but he finds the headshot with the AWP on an Eastag. Toino fragging out of his mind right now with the 3 kills, and of course the only 3 kills an LDLC player has found this round. And now he goes into the B bomb site, but is a little too slow, and that allows Madi to take his head off, but he'll fall to Existence, who's now in the 1 versus 1. Both players opping, Existence and Juji. Now Juji is really the player you'd think about as opping, but Existence doesn't have time for the plant, and he knows it, and that's a tragic end of the round. LDLC waiting just a little bit too long, and allowing Heroic to gain just a little bit more ground as a result. A buy for LDLC would be difficult, but it is possible. The AWP, of course, going back to Toino, because we've seen that man is a monster with it. And LDLC, you got to be a little bit nervous if you're in their shoes, because they're losing round after round after round. They just can't make anything work right now. Existence flashing himself through the smoke, and he actually gets a lot of purchase in the ramp, and he manages to find the frag off the back of it, but not before Modi can find 2. That's a pretty huge hit to take early on in the round, and Existence, of course, inadvertently giving away the position of the bomb. In doing so, he does drop it, though, and then grab the AWP. He's going for the pick, but no counter-terrorist players waiting for him here. Now working his way around, Existence going as slow as he can, trying to make sure he doesn't get picked off here. slowly working his way into the B-bomb site while his teammates are just spread out throughout the map. LDLC leaving themselves a lot of options as always, but when you have this few players, maybe options aren't the best thing. Maybe you need to pick one thing and just commit to it hard. But of course, that's not Existence's play, at least not yet. Eastag and Nico both sounding off of kills of their own, leaving Existence in a 1 versus 4. And Heroic, they've gained a lot of ground here. Now, this should be their 13th round, barring a miracle as far as Existence is concerned. So how do LDLC change things up so that they don't lose immediately into the second map? Of course, only 7 seconds left. Existence falling into the exact same problem that he's falling into round after round after round. And this used to be Heroic's thing, where they'd lose so many players in the early exchanges, and then how are you going to win a 3 versus 5 consistently? The tables have turned, and LDLC is facing the exact same issue now, so it's how can they stop their players from being picked off one by one? No good answers there, and hopefully during this pause, Existence will be able to figure something out, some different strategy. At this point, he's got to be at least considering throwing all the tactical decisions to the side and just rushing a site. It won't be expected, it'll keep all of your players together, and it should prevent Existence being alone in a 1 versus 3 or 1 versus 4 again. Alright, and as we come back into the match, LDLC, unfortunately not really able to full buy. They grab, you know, the bare minimum of what they can put up on the board, which is an AK and a couple CZs and a deagle. This is the traditional kitchen sink buy, you know, everything that you can possibly cobble together. Of course, every single player on their team now, right above that 2K number, they want to make sure they can save heading into the next round, except for Existence, funnily enough, and we've seen him save enough times that I'm starting to think that maybe that's not even a bad decision. So now the frags and the nades just waiting to go out. LDLC, of course, have a brilliant execute in mind. Let's see how well it plays out on paper. And this round just playing out very slowly, and I have to say I'm not a huge fan of that decision because we've seen from Existence just time after time his teams not having enough time to get the bomb down. But of course, LDLC this round, they've luckily managed to find the first pick, taking out Nico, who is one of the big fraggers, and Toino somehow managing to get the flick op shot on the Eastag. So LDLC are actually in a good position to win their first round in a while here. But they've got to be time conscious in a way that they just haven't been so far. Juji, he pushes up, finds 2 with the CZ. That equalizes things a little bit, but Devil and Existence sound off, each with a couple kills, and Toino with the op, taking down Snappy. LDLC finally at the point where they've at least secured overtime for themselves, even if they can't necessarily win. Now, both teams should be going into almost a full buy here. The money's going to be a little weak on the CT side because they're losing a lot of players every round, which means their economy isn't as strong as if you're winning with all 5 up. So let's see what they can do with this mixed buy here. They're fighting against losing the first map, so of course they're going to go all out. LDLC, they want to stop the bleeding. They want to finish this out as quickly as they can and take this first map for themselves, because if they don't, they lose a lot of standing here in the ESL Pro League. And yet again, we're seeing things so slow. I'm surprised with every single round being as slow as it is, that one team or another, be it CTs or Ts, just decide, screw it, get right in their faces, they won't expect it. It looks like LDLC is trying to do something similar to that right here, but it's working out really against their favor as they run into the meat grinder, and Heroic shears them down ruthlessly, and we might be heading towards overtime here. LDLC, they're right at the precipice of it, and they of course want to avoid it. You don't want to go into that second map fatigued after slugging it out in overtime for a not guaranteed win, but LDLC, their economy is really not looking good, so this is a very important round. Let's see what Existence has his team do right now. Heroic, they're going to be dumping out a lot of nades. They're looking to secure some outside control, but Alex sees the first counter-terrorist go through, and he takes him down with the CZ, and now that's a free gun for him. He picks it up, and with E-Stag down, Heroic are at a pretty big disadvantage here. It seems these teams, everyone gets the first frag. They're usually the ones that win the round, though. But Nico, he wants to prove me wrong. He finds 2 frags of his own, but Toino, who's been insane on that op, he comes around the corner and ends his killing spree right in its tracks. It's an even 3-on-3, just like in the old IRC days. As Snappy works his way from behind and takes down Alex, and now they know that there's a lot going on the A bomb site, and so they're going to try to move in there. Snappy dumping out the frag, allowing Juji to push around that corner with the op, just take the quick peek. But they can't seal out the round here. LDLC, they're a man down, and they want to win this game. Let's see what they can do. Resistance and Toino, they're both in the A bomb site, just kind of waiting for somebody to break the status quo. But of course, Heroic with the bomb, they're not going to do it. So LDLC, they need to recognize at some point they have to go. Now, luckily, they have picked up the bomb, and they should be able to get the plant. But beyond that, what do you do? And that's going to be the plant initializing. And Juji takes down resistance without too much trouble, and Toino falls as well, and we're going to overtime. Not even breaking a sweat on the retake there. Heroic ruthlessly mowing down any opposition that stood in their way. LDLC couldn't really put up a fight there. And 15-15, we head to OT. This is a real slugfest now. Neither team really managing to pull out more than 4 or 5 rounds in a row. Let's see if either can do any better as we head into the first half rather of overtime. Now, I'm sure both coaches rapid fire speaking to their players' ears now, trying to get ready. Peacemaker especially, he's been known to have a lot of words to say, have a lot to get off his chest. So let's see what he tells LDLC here, or excuse me, what he tells Heroic here, because I'm really interested to see how his strategies and how his innovations that we've seen in kind of previous lineups that he's been at the head of. Let's see what he can, what of that he can bring to the table for Heroic. And as we wait for overtime to get underway, we're going to kick it to music really quick. I'm your caster at Mazer CSGO. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for experiencing this game with me. We will be right back with the start of overtime.
That was back-to-back dirty audio, and now next up in a...
Counter-terrorists win.
Alright, we're back heading into the first round of overtime, and neither team looking to waste time here. Heroic very aggressively taking outside control. They know LDLC loves to play outside pretty fast and loose, and they want to stop that in its tracks. Juji been firing on all cylinders with the op, so of course he's going to push up and try to get the pick. He's working the edge of the smoke, which is going to camouflage him a little bit, but still gives him full visibility, so great decision there. And he'll find the first frag, Torno falling down to him, and of course Torno on that off is a force to be reckoned with, so the fact that he can take it out so quickly is definitely a great thing. Now Maniac and Devil both finding a kill each for their squad, but Nico not going to let that go unanswered. And that'll leave LDLC a man down, and Nico actually finding another one as well. Now, this is Devil's expertise, as I mentioned time and time again here. He's in the 1 versus 3, and he finds the first frag on a Juji, who is that opper. He's pretty much the only person who can remove his life with one shot right now. So let's see what Devil can do with this situation. He's working his way up on the outside, but unfortunately, right from underneath him, it's so hard to tell on that catwalk. It's so hard to be cognizant of where your enemies are when they can essentially attack from all dimensions. And that does allow Heroic to run away with their first round of overtime. And again, Heroic playing really quick, really aggressive nades. I like that kind of style right now, especially against a team like LDLC who loves a little bit of map control. It's good to just shut them off, to deny them any early advantage into the round. A team like that tends to crumble, and I think that's why we're seeing so many rounds go so long on the clock. That being said, Existence, he does find a nice quick opening frag, but Nico can find that time 1-2, make it 3 with excellent spray control, and Modi comes up to mop it up. That was an insane spray from Nico, and pretty much has secured the round for his team. Of course, Devil, he is the clutch player, but 2 players peeking him at once. It's not meant to be. Modi takes him down. And things looking pretty good for Heroic. They steamroll through the first 2 rounds. Let's see if LDLC can recover here, because of course you don't want to let your opponent cinch up essentially a free half in overtime. Existence comes around this corner. He's kind of read out Heroic style, where they like to get up in their face and go outside now, and he manages to find 1, make it 2 frags as LDLC maintains the man advantage, playing their trades very, very intelligently. With plays like that, they definitely watch Rick and Morty. And so things have kind of slowed down. Heroic, they don't want to give up their positioning, especially since they have a pretty good idea where the bomb is. Unfortunately, though, Modi, he peeks out, and when you're spraying at a distance like that, if your first shots don't hit their mark, it's very unlikely that you'll cinch out the kill, as was just demonstrated for us. Now it's just Nico left alone in a 1 versus 3 against Devil, Existence, and Maniac. No, those 3 are fraggers, and they are clutch players. So, Nico, things are looking pretty hairy for him right now. And he's just trying to essentially defend the A bomb site, and of course, if he hears the bomb plant, he can rotate to accommodate that. The flash coming in actually blinds Existence, who then jumps to his death, but it doesn't really matter as Maniac is able to get that final frag. So not exactly a free half for Heroic, but certainly not a great situation for LDLC to be in either. Heroic managing to pull away with the advantage here. And now we're just waiting in between the 2 halves in overtime. I do like how Heroic seem to have adapted to the LDLC slow playstyle, and so they've just gotten dynamic. They're taking outside control. They're completely denying it from LDLC. It's good stuff, and it'll definitely come in handy if they find themselves on CT side in overtime again. Shout out to all the bettors who are watching in chat, their eyes glued to the screen, because damn, this is a slugfest. It's very unclear who's going to pull this away, and the initial odds had Heroic winning this easily, and I can't blame those odds. I mean, this is the team that went 2-1 over SK recently at E-League, but they're not demonstrating that level of skill right now. Or LDLC is just demonstrating much more skill than we expected from them and punching a little bit above their weight class. Maniac holding the same angle that he's used to, and Heroic actually going for one of the executes that we saw maybe a couple times earlier from them in the first half, and breaking the windows on the A-bomb site. That definitely seems to be the execute they're most comfortable with. Heroic seemingly playing almost slower than LDLC, but finally the nades coming out, and it looks like they want to gain a little bit of purchase here. Now Maniac, he's trying to do his best to keep Heroic just away, completely away from the B-bomb site. Of course, utility can only last so long, and as soon as it starts to run out, Heroic is going to be able to abuse that, and without any utility, LDLC are going to have a tough time with a retake if that's what they need to end up doing. And Heroic, they're ready. Nico comes around the corner and somehow finds the clean headshot on Alex. Alex actually not getting a single frag out of the deal. So Maniac, he comes in and he tries to stop the players dropping from the bomb site, but he doesn't do a great job of it, not finding a single frag and being taken down. Antonio with the op makes his way up close and finds an easy kill. Ustag falling down. And 4 Heroic players up, but the bomb ticking down. They need to get in the site, they need to get that defused, and they need to do it quickly. LDLC, Devil, the last man alive in a 1 versus 4. He does have a kill, but it's probably not going to be enough. He peeks out, and that's going to be an easy one for Snappy. He manages to find his second kill of the round, complimenting Nico's 3K. And Heroic seemingly about to run away with the first map here. Both teams full guns, full utility. Notably Heroic even buying quite a few enhanced handguns. In Existence, he's worked up really far outside. I'm surprised he was allowed that much purchase here, especially because Heroic, although they're not actively trying to take outside, it's not like they're ignoring the area too, but Judy, he's waiting for that push, and he finds the first frag on Alex, punishing them for getting a little bit too aggressive here, and that's not, that type of aggression is not what I'm used to seeing from LDLC. They're definitely usually a little bit slower. I wonder what prompted the change in pace, and I'm certain they're regretting it now. Speaking of aggression, Toino with the op, he gets right in the enemy's face and finds the kill on Amadi, and that, luckily for his team, evens things out. Maniac, he's ready with the utility, and he feels the first op shot give him a haircut before he drops that molly. Definitely a little bit ballsy, but he does keep his life. Comes around the corner, he finds one, make it 2 frags, and Heroic just being torn to pieces. LDLC, they're not one to let the overtime run away from them. They managed to bring it back to 17-18. Now Heroic, they want to seal this out. They don't want to let LDLC bring them to another overtime, but that's what LDLC was saying about them pretty much the entire time in regulation. So if it wasn't working for them, I see no reason why it should work for Heroic, at least not right now, but of course it's not like they're going to quit because of that. And so now Maniac, he dumps the nade out, just trying to keep them at bay. I like the way he uses utility on the B bomb site, but it does leave him exposed to a late round rush from the terrorist side, and that's not something Heroic have taken advantage of just yet. Modi finds the first kill of the round, weakening off Alex, and as I mentioned before, it does seem that in this game, whoever gets the first frag usually runs away with the round, and if that logic holds true, then Heroic should be running away with this game now. But of course, everything is not always what it seems. Heroic still need to be very, very careful here because we've seen LDLC with some amazing clutches this game, especially from Existence and especially from Devil. Now Heroic, they're working their way towards that B-bomb site, and they're pretty much uncontested as they move in a ramp room and they start charging down the ramp, but I'm sure counter-terrorist players ready and waiting. Now, I'm sure they have an idea that Vents is where they need to be right now, but it does get mollied off. LDLC, unfortunately, not really able to get in there right now, but Devil, he's going to be falling to Snappy. That's going to make things really, really difficult for them in the retake. Existence and Toyno, the last two players left, and they're trying their best, but in a 2 versus 4, what do you even do in a situation like this? Nico manages to take down Toyno with a headshot, but Existence, that leaves him all by himself. He is working with the bomb set. He does have a fuse chip. He's being shot from 3 places at once, and it's just not enough. The first map going the way of Heroic after 2 overtimes. Very impressive play from both teams, but of course Heroic were just a little bit more confident, especially later on in the game. It seemed like they lost their footing after they lost the anti-ecos after the first pistol, but as soon as they were back into it, they were back into it for good, and they managed to take it back and finally defeat LDLC. Excellent play from them. And now we head into the second round. I am your caster at Mazer CSGO. Thank you so much for watching this stream right now. I appreciate sharing this with you, and we will be back with the second map in just a minute. Do not go anywhere.